no, she looks guilty as hell. And then I'm looking at it and I'm saying, did you really say that? Mm-hmm. Did you really say that Caitlin Clark should thank her Heavenly Stars that she wouldn't be worth anything if she wasn't playing in the WNBA? Did you really see all of these things that Nafisha Collier brought up?
The WNBA spent nearly 3 decades fighting for attention and recognition. Now the league finally has a superstar drawing millions of viewers and bringing unprecedented attention to the game. Yet instead of everything being smooth, new controversies keep appearing. Recently, Stephen A. Smith raised serious questions about how the situation is being handled, suggesting the league's leadership may not be doing enough to protect or support its biggest star. For many fans, this debate is no longer just about basketball. It has turned into a larger conversation about leadership, control, and whether the league truly knows how to manage the massive spotlight that comes with having a generational superstar. Has the WNBA leadership completely lost it? Or is this just the most obvious case of self-sabotage in sports history? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Here's what's wild. Reports started circulating about a new commercial featuring Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever superstar. Normally, that's exciting news, more exposure, more fans. But apparently not this time. The ad allegedly triggered a full-blown meltdown at the league office. Closed-door meetings, heated phone calls, and what Stephen A. Smith described as pure rage from the top. The league, it seems, went into panic mode over their own star getting highlighted.
Let me clarify first, because it's proxy season, right? No CEO do you just put the base pay in there. You put their bonus, you put their stock options, you put everything. Caitlin has the ability to make up to $500,000 just in WNBA wages this year. So of course they're just looking at a base which is collectively bargained, and actually it's low because she's the #1 pick. She'll make a little more than that, but she also has millions and millions of dollars of endorsements. She's actually, because she declared to become pro, her endorsements are higher in dollar value. She has a global platform now, not just a U.S. platform. So she's going to do just fine, as will the top players in the league, as every league does. Also, there's comparisons to the men. Those men's leagues are 75 to 120 years old. We're tipping off our 28th season. I would say if you looked at them 28 seasons in, we're further ahead. But I realize we still have a lot of work to do, and it's all about the...
Now, pause and let that sink in. This is completely backwards. Your biggest star lands a massive national commercial, millions of eyeballs on your league, many of them people who might never even watch women's basketball. Any competent sports organization? They'd celebrate. Champagne pops, press releases, social media hype, riding that wave straight to the bank. But not the WNBA. Their reaction? Anger and resentment. Stephen A. Smith didn't just speculate. He basically confirmed it. He's been one of Caitlin Clark's loudest defenders all season, but now he's calling out what he sees as a deeper problem: fundamental rot in the league's leadership. According to SAS, the vibe from WNBA headquarters isn't celebration. It's fear and jealousy, because one player has outgrown the organization itself.
Lisa Bluter was in the commercial, Travis Scott was in the commercial, Travis Kelce was in the commercial, Jason Kelce was in the commercial, like the podcast thing, which we're gonna get.
Here's why this commercial caused a meltdown. When Caitlin Clark stars in a high-budget ad, Wilson, Gatorade, State Farm, she's not just another WNBA player. She's positioned as a cultural phenomenon, a singular force. The production value is off the charts. She looks powerful, confident, and, crucially for the league office, almost bigger than the WNBA itself.
It was super hype, and they also launched the campaign from anywhere, which is just perfect for Caitlin Clark. And obviously, fans have been waiting for a CC signature shoe for years. It feels like years at this point. She is now 2 seasons into the WNBA, and we've gotten the signature logo, and we've also gotten some merch, but that signature shoe is what everybody is on the edge of their seat for. And she recently went on New Heights once again to talk about her signature shoe, and she talked about the new technology that will be going into this.
For fans, this is incredible. It's exciting and makes you want to watch basketball. But for executives like Kathy Engelbert, it's a complete loss of control. The league didn't create this image. They didn't approve the creative direction, and they can't control the narrative. When the commissioner sees Clark in these polished commercials, she sees a player who doesn't need the WNBA to survive. Clark has her own economy, her own gravitational pull, her own empire. The rage Stephen A. Smith keeps talking about comes from this total loss of leverage. Normally, leagues control their players because the players need the league for paychecks and exposure. Clark has bypassed that dynamic completely. She's making more money off the court than on it. That financial independence equals power, and power makes people uncomfortable, especially those used to being in charge. Insiders say the timing of this commercial really set things off. All season, the league has been pushing a collective narrative. It's not just about one player. Focus on the history, the system, the other players. Then, boom, this ad drops and obliterates that message in 30 seconds. It proves who's actually driving interest in the league. Not the commissioner, but the girl from Iowa who can drain shots from the logo. The contrast between the WNBA's outdated, low-budget marketing and Clark's premium brand deals is embarrassing for leadership. That embarrassment has turned into anger because it exposes years of failure. For 27 years, the WNBA struggled to gain mainstream attention. Then one player comes along and achieves in one season what they couldn't in decades that couldn't do in nearly 3 decades. That's got to sting. Stephen A. Smith has been absolutely relentless about this. He's pointed out the absurdity of having a commissioner who's supposedly a business expert acting emotionally compromised because one player is getting too much attention. His argument is that the rage is actually covering up incompetence. Every time Clark lands another massive deal or stars in another viral commercial, it highlights what the WNBA failed to do for all those years. Think about it from Kathy Engelbert's perspective. You're the commissioner. You're supposed to be the business genius who grows the league. Then Gatorade, Wilson, and State Farm all do a better job marketing your sport than you ever did. That's humiliating. It exposes you as not being very good at your job. So instead of learning from it, instead of hiring better marketing teams to match that energy, the response is apparently bitterness and resentment. SAS also connected the dots between boardroom attitude and locker room behavior. If the commissioner is rolling her eyes at Clark's commercial success, why would opposing players feel any need to show her respect? The toxicity trickles down. When leadership doesn't protect their star, when they treat her success with hostility instead of pride, it sends a message to everyone else that it's open season. This might explain some of the ridiculous hard fouls and cheap shots we've seen all season. We need to understand this rage within the context of WNBA history. For years, the league has been run by a specific group with a specific mindset. They view the WNBA as a cause, a movement, a collective struggle for recognition and respect. Then comes Caitlin Clark, who represents pure individual stardom and capitalism. She doesn't fit the mold. She disrupts the carefully constructed hierarchy. The commercial highlights this disruption perfectly. It shows Clark as a singular force separated from the pack. The WNBA leadership spent decades trying to convince the world that the product is the league itself. They sell the shield, the collective. But Clark's brand partners sell her as an individual icon. This fundamental disagreement about what sells is causing massive friction. The old guard feels disrespected. They feel like all the foundational work they did is being ignored because some girl from Iowa can shoot from anywhere and happen to go viral. Stephen A. Smith pointed out this is the same energy behind leaving Clark off the Olympic roster. That decision was made by the old guard to protect hierarchy and send a message. You have to wait your turn. Pay your dues. But commercial brands don't care about waiting your turn. They pay for relevance right now. Today, this second. This disconnect between the slow-moving, seniority-based league office and the fast-moving, merit-based world of advertising is causing internal chaos. The commissioner is stuck in the middle, and instead of adapting to the new reality, she's getting angry at it. Let's talk about the money, because ultimately professional sports is supposed to be a business. Stephen A. Smith has repeatedly accused the WNBA of committing business malpractice, and the rage over Clark's commercial is a perfect example. In normal leagues like the NBA or NFL, when a player lands a massive national commercial, the commissioner celebrates. Why? Because it raises the value of the entire enterprise. It brings casual fans to games. It sells merchandise. So why is WNBA leadership mad? Because they're not getting credit. Clark's off-court earnings are absolutely dwarfing her on-court salary, and that makes the league look cheap and unprofessional. When casual fans see Clark in million-dollar ad campaigns and then find out the WNBA pays her a base salary of roughly $76,000, it creates a public relations nightmare. It highlights the wage gap and lack of revenue sharing. The commissioner knows this. She knows every high-profile commercial is a reminder to the public that the WNBA doesn't pay its stars appropriately. It invites scrutiny. People start asking uncomfortable questions like, why is the league so broke if this girl is generating so much attention and money? Instead of fixing the revenue model or celebrating the exposure, leadership gets defensive. They would apparently rather Clark be less famous, so they wouldn't have to answer these hard financial questions. That's a scarcity mindset, fighting over crumbs while Clark is baking an entirely new cake. Let's focus on Kathy Angelbert specifically. She was brought in as a CEO type from Deloitte, someone who supposedly knows how to crunch numbers and grow a business. But she's been completely outmaneuvered by the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. Her reaction to this new commercial era has been awkward and frozen. Remember, this is the same commissioner who struggled to answer a basic question about racial toxicity directed at Clark during a televised interview. She tried to give a corporate non-answer, and it backfired spectacularly. Smith has suggested Angelbert is raging because she knows she's on the hot seat. The owners of WNBA teams are business people. They see the numbers, the chartered flights Clark forced the league to adopt, the sold-out arenas, the merchandise flying off shelves. If the commissioner is seen as an obstacle to growth, if she's viewed as being petty about commercials rather than capitalizing on them, she won't last long. The rage is likely fear that she's being exposed as the wrong leader for this new era. Clark represents a pace of growth that Angelbert seemingly can't handle. The commercial is a symbol of that speed. It's slick, fast, globally appealing. Meanwhile, the WNBA's official marketing often feels clunky and years behind. It's a clash of aesthetics and competence, and the commissioner is losing badly. Instead of matching Clark's energy, reports suggest she's just bitter about being outshined by her own player. We have to use the word jealousy because it's the only one that fits. Stephen A. Smith has used it. Charles Barkley has used it. Usually, we talk about players being jealous of each other. What SAS is exposing now is that jealousy goes all the way to the executive suite. Why would a commissioner be jealous of her own player? Because Clark wields more actual power and influence than Angelbert does. When Caitlin Clark speaks, the world listens. When Kathy Angelbert speaks, people tune out or don't even know who she is. That's a hard reality for an executive who's used to being the boss. This new commercial cements Clark's status as the face of women's basketball, regardless of what the league standings say. The office spent years trying to manufacture stars, trying to tell fans who to root for. Then Clark showed up, and it happened organically, naturally, unstoppably. The rage is the rage of a micromanager who's lost control. They can't tell Clark what to wear, what to say, or who to sign endorsement deals with because she doesn't need their permission or their money. This independence is seen as a direct threat to their authority. We see this manifested in weird ways, like how long it takes WNBA official accounts to post Clark's highlights compared to other players. Fans have documented this pattern all season. It's petty and childish, and it comes from the top. One of the most telling aspects of this entire situation is what the league doesn't do. When this new commercial dropped, did the WNBA official account repost it? Did they congratulate their star on expanding the game's reach? Did they issue any press release celebrating the partnership?
No.
Complete silence. In the NBA, when stars drop new signature shoes or major ads, the league amplifies it because they understand it's good for the entire ecosystem. The WNBA's silence regarding Clark's commercial victories is deafening. It confirms everything Stephen A. Smith is saying. You only ignore your biggest star's success if you're bitter about it. This silence is actively damaging the league's relationship with its fan base. The millions of new fans Clark brought in aren't stupid. They see the double standard. They see the hostility. They're starting to view WNBA leadership as villains in this story. By refusing to embrace the commercial, the commissioner is drawing a line in the sand. It's us versus her. And as Stephen A. Smith warned, that's a war the WNBA will absolutely lose. You cannot fight cultural momentum. You cannot fight the zeitgeist. Clark is the zeitgeist right now. We have to connect boardroom rage to on-court violence because this is the darkest part of the theory. If the commissioner and league office are openly resentful of Clark's commercial appeal, it sends a message to the rest of the league. It's okay to go after her. If the commissioner treated Clark like the asset she is, it would set a tone of respect and protection. But by acting cold, by apparently raging against her marketing success, Angelbert effectively removes protection around Clark. We've seen the hard fouls. We've seen blindside hits and eye pokes. After every incident, the league's discipline has been slow and weak. SAS argues this is connected. The leadership doesn't want to protect a player who makes them feel inadequate. They're letting jumble rules apply to Clark because deep down maybe they want to see her struggle. They want her knocked down a peg so they can say, "See, she's not that special." But every time she gets up and shoots another commercial, it proves them wrong again. Stephen A. Smith just exposed which path they're choosing, and it's the wrong one. If this story opened your eyes, smash that like button and subscribe because this drama is far from over.